Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good day, everyone. So today we are discussing about the OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Act of 1994, and also the Factories and Machinery Act of 1967. But before that, I would like to introduce my team members, which is panel 1, AZALINA binti ANUAR, and panel 2, Muhammad AMIN bin ALIAS. Please raise your hand. Okay. And the next is ARIF ASYRAF bin NORDIN. Please raise your hand. This is the panel 3. Okay. So about the OSHA 1994 and FMA 67. So basically, what is OSHA 1994? It's actually the occupational safety and health legislation called the Occupational Safety and Health Act 1984 that was enacted to ensure the safety and health and welfare of the employees at the workplace. So the key features of this OSHA 1984 include the establishment by the Department of Occupational Safety and Health, DOSH, to oversee and enforce the safety regulations, the requirements for employers to ensure a safe working environment, and the provision of rights for employees to refuse work that they believe is dangerous. And what is FMA 1967? So FMA is Factories and Machinery Act 1967, which is FMA, is a legislation in Malaysia that governs occupational safety and health in factories and certain machinery-intensive workplaces. The primary objective of this act is to ensure the safety and health and welfare of the workers by establishing regulations and standards for the factories. And it covers a wide range of aspects, including the design, construction, operation and maintenance, and inspection of the factories itself. And the aim, with the aim of preventing workplace accidents and protecting workers from hazards, occupational hazards. So, okay, let's start the question with the machinery, like I said just now, based on FMA 1967. For I would like to ask AZALINA, our panel 1. Okay, let's say there's this manufacturing facility that was found in violation of FMA's 1967 due to inadequate of maintenance, which is lacking of regular inspections and maintenance that led to a malfunction, and then it causing accident, resulting in serious injuries to a worker. So how does actually the FMA 1967 address the maintenance and inspection of machinery? Would you please?
Thank you for the question. Firstly, the Factories and Machinery Act 1967, FMA 1967 in Malaysia, addresses the maintenance and inspections of machinery through various provisions. Some key aspects of FMA 1967 related to machinery maintenance and inspection, including the first one is periodical inspections. All machinery and factories must be inspected by an inspector or another authorized person at prescribed periods and in a specific manners. The second one, notice of defects. If the machinery does not comply with the requirements of the Act, the inspector shall serve a notice in writing on the occupier requiring the specified defect to be made good or removed within a specified period. The third one is the certificate of fitness. The inspector may, on payment of the prescribed fee, permit the use of the machinery and endorse the certificate of fitness if the defects are made good or removed, approval of hazard machinery, and many more. All these provisions aim to ensure the machinery and factories are maintained and inspected regularly to prevent accidents and maintain a safe working environment.
Oh, I see. So, what are the cons for consequences for the employers who fail to comply with machinery-related regulations under the FMA 1967?
So if the employers, they are failed to apply the FMA, the non-compliance with the machinery maintenance and inspection requirements of the Factories Machinery Act 1967 in Malaysia can lead to various consequences. So the first one is legal penalties. Non-compliance with the FMA 1967 can lead to legal penalties, including fines and potential legal action. The penalty for contravention of the Act may result in fines or other punitive measures. The second one is prohibitions of machinery operation. If machinery does not comply with the requirements of the FMA 1967, an inspector may be served a notice prohibiting the operations of the machinery until the specified defects are rectified. The machinery shall not be operated as long as the prohibition remains unrevoked. Last but not least, safety risks. Non-compliance with the maintenance and inspection requirements can pose significant safety risks to workers and individuals within the premise. This can lead to accident, injuries, and potential loss of life. It is important for organizations to adhere to the machinery maintenance and inspection requirements outlined in the FMA 1967 to ensure the safety and well-being of individuals in the workplace and to avoid legal precautions.
So it can be seen that the FMA 67 is addressing more machinery-related risks by mandating safe design, operation, and maintenance, right? Okay, next we move on to the chemical hazards under OSHA 1994. Okay, I would like to ask this question to Amin, but before that, I would like to give you some example. For example, yeah, there's this organization that was penalized under OSHA 1994 for improper storage and handling of hazardous chemicals. So it is leading to a chemical spill. So several workers suffered from the exposure-related health issues. So what does the OSHA 1994 actually regulate the storage and handling of hazardous chemicals in the workplace? Please.
Okay, thank you for the question. The Occupational Safety and Health OSHA 1994 in Malaysia plays a crucial role in regulating the storage and handling of hazardous chemicals in the workplace, aiming to safeguard the health and well-being of the employees. OSHA 1994 outlines specific provisions and requirements to ensure the safe storage and handling of hazardous substance. The requirement for employers to conduct a comprehensive risk assessment of the workplace is to identify and assess potential hazard associated with the storage and handling. Employees are mandated to implement control measure based on the findings of the risk assessment, with a preference for collective measures such as engineering controls and administrative controls. OSHA 1994 also placed a strong emphasis on the provision of information and training to the employees regarding the hazards of the chemicals, as they might be exposed to the hazardous chemical during their works. In terms of storage, OSHA 1994 established guidelines for proper storage of hazardous chemical. It is to prevent accident and minimize the risk of exposure. This includes specifying storage condition, compatibility of stored substance, and ensuring the availability of appropriate storage facilities such as cabinets, ventilation system, and containment measure. Emergency preparedness is another critical aspect covered by OSHA 1994. Employers are required to establish and implement emergency response plan, conduct regular drills, and provide appropriate facilities and equipment for dealing with chemical spills or other emergencies. Non-compliance with this regulation may result in legal consequences, including fines and penalties. OSHA 1994 therefore encourage a proactive and systematic approach by employers to ensure that the storage and handling of hazardous chemical are conducted in a manner that minimizes risk, protect workers, and complies with established safety standards. This regulatory framework aligns with the broader goal of OSHA 1994 to create and maintain a safe and healthy working environment for all employees in Malaysia.
Oh, I see. So, what are the employers can do to ensure compliance with OSHA 94 regarding chemical hazards? Mr. Amin.
Regarding to chemical hazard, the employers must conduct a thorough risk assessment of the workplace to identify and evaluate potential chemical hazards. This includes an assessment of the properties of chemical use, their potential health effect, and the likelihood of exposure. Based on the risk assessment, employers are required to implement control measures to minimize or eliminate exposure to hazardous chemicals. Such a measure may include the use of engineering control, administrative controls, and the provision of personal protective equipment (PPE) when necessary. OSHA 1994 also mandates employers to provide relevant information and training to the employees regarding the hazard associated with the chemical they may be exposed to during their work. This include information on handling practices, emergency procedures, and the proper use of any protective equipment. Employers are required to ensure that material safety data sheet (MSDS) or safety data sheet (SDS) for hazardous chemical are readily accessible to employee. In addition, employers must establish and implement proper labeling and signage for hazardous chemical in the workplace. Containers holding hazardous substance should be clearly labeled, and employees should be informed about the meaning of this label to facilitate safe handling.
Wow, so it can be seen that the chemical hazards are regulated to ensure the workplace safety, right, under the OSHA 1994 in Malaysia. So next we move to the Mr. Arif. So Mr. Arif, it can be seen that workplace ergonomics and health risks under OSHA 1994 is also a very common thing, common risk in the workplace. Okay, let's say there's this a call center, let's say, that faced with a legal action under the OSHA 1994 for not providing ergonomic workstations, resulting in a high number of employees experiencing the MSD, the musculoskeletal disorder, the back pain and whatnot. So how does this OSHA 1994 actually address the workplace ergonomics and the prevention of the MSD, musculoskeletal disorders? Mr. Arif.
Okay, the Occupational Safety and Health Act 1994 in Malaysia addresses workplace ergonomy and the prevention of musculoskeletal disorder (MSD) through various initiatives and regulation. OSHA 1994 recognized the significance of work-related MSD as a prevalent occupational health hazard and has proposed standard and program to address this issue. Some of the key way OSHA 1994 regulate and addresses workplace ergonomic and the prevention of MSD include ergonomic program standard, hazard identification and control, training and education, workplace evaluation and intervention. So, ergonomic program standard, OSHA has proposed an ergonomic program standard that relies on the practical, flexible approach, reflecting industry best practices and focusing on job where work-related MSD's problems are severe. For hazard identification and control, OSHA has provided resource practices and guidelines for identifying economic hazard in the workplace and implementing control measures to prevent MSD. And next is training and education. OSHA emphasized the importance of training and education to prevent MSD, providing practical approach for improving the workplace and reducing the risk of ergonomic injuries. And then for the workplace evaluation and intervention, OSHA has conducted workplace evaluating and intervention, as well as site visit to companies that have implemented ergonomic control to address the prevalence of MSD. By proposing standard, providing resources and conducting intervention, OSHA 1994 aims to prevent and reduce the incidence of work-related MSD, making significant effort to address this widespread occupational health hazard.
So then, as the employers of the call center, what are the responsibilities in providing a safe and healthy working environment under the OSHA 1994?
So, employers have several responsibilities in providing a safe and healthy working environment under OSHA 1994. Some of these responsibilities include providing a workplace free from serious recognized hazard, examining workplace condition, providing safe tools and equipment, correcting cited violation, establishing safety and health program, keeping record of work-related injuries and illnesses, providing access to work-related injury and illness record, and finally, ensuring employee fitness. So, providing a workplace free from serious recognized hazard, employers must ensure that their workplace is free from serious recognized hazard and comply with standard rules and regulation under the OSH Act. For the examining workplace condition, employers must examine workplace condition to make sure they confront to applicable OSHA standard. And then for providing safe tools and equipment, employers must ensure that the employees have and use safe tool and equipment and that this equipment is properly maintained. For correcting cited violation, employers must correct cited violation by the deadline set in the OSHA citation and submit required abatement. And then it's establishing safety and health program. OSHA encourage employers to adopt safety and health program, which can substantially reduce the number and severity of workplace injuries and illnesses. Keeping record of work-related injuries and illnesses, employee must keep record of work-related injuries and illnesses, with some exemption based on the number of employees and industry classification. Employees are required to provide employers are required to provide employees from employees and their representative access to the log of the work-related injuries and illnesses. And finally, for the ensuring employee fitness, employers must ensure that employees are fit to work in the specific environment they are assigned to.
So it can be seen that OSHA 1994 in Malaysia is actually addressing the workplace ergonomics and health risks, requiring employers to mitigate the ergonomic hazards, which involving the proper workstation design, providing ergonomic training, and safeguarding employee health, just like ARFAH just discussed about, right? So next, we move to the electrical safety under FMA 1967 and OSHA 1994. So okay, let's say I give you an example. Again, okay, a construction site was cited for violations of both FMA 1967 and OSHA 1994 when a worker suffered an electric shock due to faulty wiring and inadequate electrical safety measures. So, Mr. Amin, how do both FMA 1967 and OSHA 1994 actually regulate the electrical safety in the workplace?
Okay, the Factories and Machinery Act 1967 and the Occupational Safety and Act OSHA 1994. This legislative framework provide comprehensive guidelines and standards to ensure the well-being of workers and the prevention of electrical hazard. Under the Factories and Machinery Act 1967, electrical safety is addressed through specific provision that mandate the installation, maintenance, and inspection of electrical system within industrial settings. The Act outlines requirements for the proper design and construction of electrical installation, emphasizing the need for compliance with established safety standard. Additionally, it mandates regular inspection and testing of electrical equipment to identify and rectify potential hazard promptly. The Occupational Safety and Health (OSHA) 1994 complements the FMA 1967 by focusing on the broader aspect of workplace safety, including electrical safety. OSHA 1994 placed a legal obligation on employers to provide a safe working environment free from risks that may cause harm or injury. Employers are required to conduct risk assessment, implement control measure, and provide training to employees regarding electrical safety practices. Both underscore the importance of maintaining a safe working environment by emphasizing the role of employers, employees, and competent persons in ensuring compliance with electrical safety regulation. Penalties for non-compliance with this regulation may include fines and other legal consequences. In summary, the Factories and Machinery Act 1967 and OSHA 1994 collectively establish a robust regulatory framework for electrical safety in Malaysia workplaces. This act work in tandem for safeguard the well-being of workers, promote a culture of safety, and prevent electrical accidents through comprehensive regulation, inspection, and enforcement mechanism.
So that is the mechanism and the regulation that were made by under the FMA and OSHA. So, Mr. Arif, what are the measures that employers can implement to prevent electrical accidents and ensure the compliance with the relevant acts mentioned just now?
Employers can implement several measures to prevent electrical accident and ensure compliance with relevant acts such as the Factories and Machinery Act 1967 and the Occupational Safety and Health Act 1994. Some of the measures include training and education. Provide comprehensive training and education to employees on the safe use of the electrical equipment, potential hazard, and emergency procedure. Next is develop electrical safety policies. Establish and communicate clear electrical safety policies and procedure and ensure that all the employees are trained in them. Next is regular electrical safety audits. Conduct regular electrical safety audits to identify potential hazards and address them before they cause accidents. Use lockout takeout procedures. Implement lockout takeout procedures to ensure that the equipment is de-energized and safe during maintenance or repair. Proper insulation and guarding. Utilize insulator and guarding to reduce the flow of electrical current and protect workers from electrical hazard. Next is use well-insulated cable. Ensure that all the electrical cable are well insulated to prevent the electrical shock and hazard. After that, personal protective equipment or PPE. Provide and ensure the use of appropriate PPE such as rubber glove and insulated clothing for employee working with or near electrical equipment. Lastly, safe work practices. Enforce safe work practices such as not overloading socket, using power board with safety switches, and not using frayed or broken cord.
So both FMA 1967 and OSHA 1994 actually regulate electrical safety in Malaysia. And it shows that employers must adhere to standards for safe electrical installations, provide training, and implement the measures to prevent the electrical hazards in the workplace, right? So next, we go back to panel 1, our Miss Azalina. So, okay, regarding the failure to provide the personal protective equipment, PPE, under the OSHA 1994. So let's say this is a company, a factory, a manufacturing company faced a penalty for not providing adequate PPE to workers that was exposed to hazardous conditions resulting in injury. So how does OSHA 1994 mandate the provision of personal protective equipment in the workplace? Please.
The Occupational Safety and Health Act 1994 mandates the provisions of personal protective equipment (PPE) in the workplace through various provisions. The Act requires employers to provide, use and maintain PPE in sanitary and reliable conditions as necessary to protect employees from workplace hazards, as outlined in Section 15 of the Act. Additionally, OSHA's General Duty Clause, Section 5A1, requires employers to provide their employees with a workplace free from recognized hazards likely to cause death or serious physical harm, which include the provisions of appropriate PPE. Furthermore, OSHA's standard for general industry outlines specific requirements for the provisions of PPE to employees, such as respirators, safety glasses, face shield, earplugs, protective glove, and flame-resistant clothing, among others. These provisions and standards collectively mandate the provisions of PPE in workplace to ensure the safety and health of employees.
So what are the consequences for employers who fail to provide appropriate PPE to their employees?
The consequences for employers who fail to provide appropriate personal protective equipment (PPE) to their employees can be significant. Some of the potential consequences including injuries, illness, or death. So, failure to provide proper PPE can result in employee injuries, illness, or even fatalities, as workers may be exposed to various workplace hazards without adequate protection. The second one, legal ramification. Employees may face legal consequences, including fines and penalties for non-compliance with PPE regulations. In the event of the accident or injury, employees may also be subject to workers' compensation claims to the other legal liabilities. Dismissal in serious cases. Persistent refusal or to wear PPE by employees despite employer attempt to accommodate them can be considered gross misconduct and may lead to dismissal. Workers' compensation claims. Employees who are injured due to the lack of proper PPE may be eligible for workers' compensation benefits, and the employee may be held responsible for covering related medical expenses and other costs. Regulatory violations. Non-compliance with PPE regulations can lead to regulatory violation, which may damage the organization reputation and lead to increased regulatory scrutiny. In summary, the consequences of failing to provide appropriate PPE can range from legal and financial penalties to serious injuries and even fatalities, highlighting the critical importance of PPE compliance in the workplace.
So if an employer fails to provide PPE, is actually a violation under the OSHA 1994, right? So it can be, so I think it's almost the end of this. And I would say that the implementation of Factories and Machinery Act of 1967, FMA, and the Occupational Safety and Health, OSHA 1994, is crucial for several reasons, all aimed at ensuring the safety, health, and well-being of workers in Malaysia. So it can be seen that these two acts give worker protection. It also give accident prevention, also give legal compliance and productivity efficiency, also employee morale and retention, and it is considered as the international standards. So in summary, the implementation of these two acts, FMA 1967 and the OSHA 1994, is essential for the protection of workers and the prevention of accidents, legal compliance, and overall economic and social development. So it promotes a culture of safety in the workplace, benefiting both employers and employees as well. So I would say this is the end of it. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.